Hello, everyone. This is for week 4 of Sociology of Disaster. This week we covered preparedness for emergency response. In that article, we learned about emergency preparedness, the things that are done before a disaster that increase a community's ability to deal with the effects the disaster has. And that's usually done with an EOP or an emergency operations plan. The primary goal of emergency response is to protect the responders as well as the public and property. Emergencies and disasters, while unique to one another, can and still need planned for. There's 3 types of improvisations for emergencies. Reproductive improvisations, responding to something lacking by replacing it with something different to achieve the same outcome. The book gave an example here of police officers replacing a failing siren. Adaptive improvisation is changing or modifying typical routines to complete operational goals. This involves usually just a change and not necessarily an improvement. And then there's a creative improvisation. Couldn't get that word right. The answer to a disaster that was not planned for. This usually involves developing a new plan. We learned about the fundamental principles that can signal a community is prepared for a disaster, such as managing resistance to the planning process, adopting an all-hazard approach, promoting multi-organizational participation, relying on accurate assumptions, identify appropriate actions with encouraging improvisation, link emergency response to disaster recovery and hazard mitigation, conduct thorough training and evaluation, and adopt a continuous planning process. Organizational structures for emergency response must be used to respond to everyday emergencies and must also be flexible enough. The EOC, Emergency Operations Center, helps provide technical assistance to responders. In the Bioterror article, we learned that in the event of a bioterror event, the citizens of the community need information they can digest and that is readily. The media needs to not sensationalize information about the disasters and resources available or about evacuations. Major media needs to be truthful about what is happening and not overhype as to send the country into a frenzy. In the roles of the children and the youth in communicating disaster risks, we learned that while the youth can be useful in disaster situations to say provide information, they're not independent enough in some cases to handle the same responsibilities as an adult. I didn't really have too much that I didn't understand this week. I think I digested most of the information and understood it. The question for the class is, if you were a child in a disaster situation, what do you think your biggest help would be to the greater community? And I tried using the Doomsday Prepper link, but it didn't load. And then I tried to search for it on Google, but it just came up as the same basic National Geographic page. So if there's another link for that, I could try. So I'm going to give it a go, although I'm pretty sure I'm not prepared at all for the Doomsday event. Probably not at all. But I hope everyone has a great week. And I'll see you next week.